Thank God Serena wasn't the one questioning Colonel Jessup in that courtroom, because she couldn't handle the truth.
She couldn't handle the truth. You want the truth? No. No further questions, Your Honor.
Hey, Upper East Siders and all you scandal-loving listeners out there. You just tuned into the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, where the coffee is strong, the waffles are fresh, and the gossip is hotter than ever. My name is Leif, and I'm your seasoned Gossip Girl veteran.
And I'm Steve, the newbie, the greenhorn, the rookie, I don't know, Leif, what are we calling me now that we're in season 3?
I don't know, but are you ready to make the fat lady sing?
I mean, I can help her hit those high notes.
All right, let's do it.
So here's the deal, folks. Leif has been watching Gossip Girl ever since it first aired, and I'm diving in for the first time. And together, we're your dynamic duo, bringing you all the drama, romance, and sometimes questionable fashion choices of this iconic 2007 series.
Bring your magnifying glasses, because each week we're dissecting every juicy detail of the show, one episode at a time. We'll connect the dots, uncover those sneaky little Easter eggs, and of course, serve up some piping hot tea. And expect some iconic moments from fandom, too, because what's a deep dive without a little drama?
And since we are all about inclusivity here at the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, there is always room for you at the Non-Judging Breakfast table. So go ahead, grab your coffee, your mimosa, or roll up something from Chuck's stash, and let's go ahead and get this thing started.
Well, before we get started, not really shocked, but Penn was snubbed by the Emmys.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like such a weird situation, because first the network has to like pay a fee and nominate you. Then you're considered by your peers in the category.
Yeah.
To be nominated.
Yeah.
That's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the whole, like, I don't even know if he was submitted by Netflix. Like, they have to submit and pay a fee to even be considered to be nominated.
Oh, okay. I'll be honest. I don't really understand a lot of the process. Most of my knowledge of the process comes from For Your Consideration, the Christopher Guest movie, where they were essentially writing a movie 100% for the purpose of making an Emmy winner.
Well, movies don't win Emmys.
Not Emmy, or Oscar winner. An award thing. I think it was a movie for an Oscar, but yes, yeah.
But each awards has like a whole different thing.
Right.
I looked into it for the Emmys, and specifically the Emmys, they have to be submitted, and there's an entry fee. So the network has to submit you and pay an entry fee for you to even be considered to be nominated.
Yeah. And it's because then if they do get nominated, then that is great advertising. And it is but it's so ridiculous because it all starts with buying entry to this. And
then more Empire Hotel in episode 3 of Dexter's Resurrection.
Oh, very fun.
I was still not shocked, but Uncle Jack showed up.
Oh, no kidding. That's of course. Because oh my God, that's so funny. just see him be like, man, this seems really familiar.
He actually was not at the Empire, but he was in the episode. He was down in Miami still.
That's funny. Also, I finally convinced Robin to watch You, and we're 4 episodes in. So, and yeah, I knew what I was doing.
Did she like it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's very gripping, especially that first season.
Oh, yes. Yeah, she instantly got into it. And I also knew what I was doing by getting Robin to watch Bad Boy Penn Badgley. I had ulterior motives. and yeah.
And finally, happy 40th birthday to Chase Crawford.
Oh, happy birthday, Chase.
And he celebrated with Victoria's Secret angel Kelsey Merritt. A very Nate move.
Yeah. I hope the two of you had a fantastic evening. I'm just glad that she has 2 arms and 2 legs and not 8 tentacles, if you know what I mean.
Sure. And also consenting.
And yes.
What's this guy? The Deep.
The Deep.
What's it? Do you know what's his real name?
Oh, I cannot remember. Kevin.
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 Yes.
It's only because I remember the octopus screaming at him. Kevin.
Oh, Kevin.
Oh, Kevin. One of my best friends from of all time is his name's Kevin, and the number of times that his name is yelled, Kevin.
We are here to talk about season 3, episode 21, Ex-Husbands and Wives. Original air date was May 10th, 2010, and based on the movie Husbands and Wives. Came out in 1992, written, directed, and starring Woody Allen.
Ah, okay. I will say I am so uneducated in the Woody Allen filmography. I know I maybe have seen 1 or 2 of his movies, but I've never really been that interested, and now I really have no desire to watch them because I think the guy's a creep. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't.
Also in the film with them was Mia Farrow and Sidney Pollack.
Yeah. Yeah.
This episode was written by Sarah Goodman. She joined the writer's room at the end of season 2 with The Wrath of Khan and became a mainstay until the series end. This is her 3rd episode of season 3. It also wrote How to Succeed in Bassness and The Hurt Locket.
I hated a lot of The Hurt Locket. Congrats on surviving the culling, and also good episode for the writing in this. I thought that this episode had me very honestly on edge at times of how is this going to play out. So I really felt like the writing was good in this.
At what point did you put together that Howard was the one that William had been calling?
At the reveal.
Oh, really?
It was at the reveal when they were in her office. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I forgot. I knew her husband was a doctor. I didn't realize that she too was a doctor. So
I think the connection, the big clue was from the last episode that she was at the Columbia event. So that gives her the connection to William.
Yeah, I just kind of figured she was just there. I really did not put her together, mostly because
even when she lied about this, or did you think she was telling the truth about her and Rufus?
No. I thought she was lying. I didn't think that he would enlist the same person for both schemes. So when she was the one saying that she slept with Rufus, I was like, that's bullshit. William paid her. So now who's the doctor? I didn't think that it would have been the same person. So then when it ended up being the same person, it was a much bigger reveal to me. And Gossip Girl doesn't get me very often. Robin sometimes hates watching shows with me because I just play TV better than her. Emily and I started watching The Summer I Turned Pretty with Robin there, and Robin's already seen it. And Emily and I are sitting there the whole time just like, oh, well, this guy's going to be like that. And like, oh, well, these two are getting together. And she's going to, oh, great. He's going to be alone out there brooding and she's going to go follow her. So
anyways, this episode was directed by future friend of the podcast, Norman Buckley.
Norman Buckley, future friend of the podcast.
Yes.
I am and king of directing teen dramas.
Yeah. And, looking at his resume for Gossip Girl, not a bad episode in the bunch.
No.
The Handmaid's Tale, A Thin Line Between Chuck and Nate, Much I Do About Nothing, New Haven Can Wait, The Age of Dissidence, Goodbye Gossip Girl, and The Freshman.
Yes. When I see Norman Buckley directing an episode, it's like I'm watching Buffy and it says written and directed by Joss Whedon. You know it is monumental, and you know he is going to get some phenomenal performances, and that you're going to really be invested in this episode.
Indeed. Why don't you go ahead and give us that Vulture recap?
Here we go. The world of Gossip Girl is fluid. Relationships, situations, and even the nature of people are constantly changing. One week, Chuck might be a cold, date-raping ne'er-do-well. The next, he is a loving boyfriend and responsible businessman. Then back again. But the characters, and we know that some things will always remain constant, like the Humphreys, whose behavior is as solid and predictable as their name. Rufus, we know, will always act Rufusy. Jenny will most likely behave selfishly and duplicitously, and Dan Humphrey can usually be counted on to tell the truth. And so it makes sense that out of the many, many signs that her father was not quite what he seemed, was the phone call from her stepbrother, ex-boyfriend, that finally prompted Serena to question William's actions. Thank God, because if this series moved down to Palm Beach, we know for sure we were watching a soap opera. That Vulture, that one was a little tongue-tiedy, runny-on-y with the sentences there. That one was a little...
But I hate to break it to them, they are watching a soap opera.
Yeah.
It's just a primetime soap opera, not a daytime soap.
Yeah, it's so funny. I remember being an adolescent boy in an era where insecurity ran rampant, especially about your sexuality and things like that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't tell anyone in high school that I watched Dawson's Creek every week.
For me, it was 90210. that I remember the day that it occurred to me, like, wait, this is a soap opera. I shouldn't be enjoying this. And kept watching. But then again, it was years later when I was watching the WWE and was like, wait a second.
This is a soap opera.
This is a soap opera.
We get into the episode. Act 1 begins, as always, with a Gossip Girl monologue. New day, new designer. Whether it's love or war you're outfitting for, thank God for friends and fashion.
Yeah, awesome to see the scene start off with the besties here.
Yep. Blair and Serena are picking out outfits for the first date with the new guy, Cameron.
Yes.
Serena says, Dr. Daddy said not to tell Lily about Rufus cheating yet.
Yeah, good advice. For an actual sick person. At the same time, Serena, you're kind of an idiot. And Serena wants this dude to love her so badly. So just anything he says, she's going to do.
Well, I think at this point, she does see him as loving her, but she thinks she's not enough to keep him there. She needs Lily to rope him in for real.
Exactly. And what's really funny about that, which also, I'll just say Dr. Daddy's slow game is pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
He is so good at playing this. He plays it perfectly if he didn't just get found out by everybody else. If it weren't for you meddling kids.
Well, like Chuck and Blair, they admire him.
Yeah, exactly. And Serena, yeah, it's just, I feel for her in this episode because she has every motivation to want this guy to stay,
Yeah. Jenny and Chuck are having a phone conversation about Lily's pill bottle that Chuck bought back from a young Lois Lane. Chuck's guy is investigating what the pills actually are. However, a grounded Jenny gets busted by Rufus, who silently demands Jenny's phone.
Yeah. It's so funny. I'm so used to being like, Rufus, you asshole, but she's not supposed to be on the phone.
Yeah.
Rufus really wasn't being too terrible to Jenny, but I'm just so used to him being so terrible that I'm instantly mad at him when he does these things. But she was breaking the rules that she knew she was breaking, even for good reasons. But she's not going to tell him the reasons, so
because communication would ruin. It wouldn't be a TV show.
Right. Although honestly, in real life, if this were happening, people would go to jail. But in real life, Jenny sitting there not having the information she has and not going to her dad yet would make sense. Like, I'm not in a good place with my dad right now. I should really know what I'm talking about. I don't really blame her for that. Because how do you know? You know how I was selling drugs? You want to know the drugs I was selling?
Chuck pumps Nate for info on Blair's date today. Nate begs him to leave Blair alone. As the scene cuts, Chuck gets a call from his personal pharmacist.
I love that we had another besties scene. We started with the besties with Blair and Serena, and now we go to the boy besties with Nate and Chuck. Do you think Chuck didn't know about the date? His reaction from Nate when Nate's like, don't interrupt Blair's date, and Chuck's like, what? Blair has a date?
No, I think he knew about the date. He was just trying to figure out who it was with.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah, that guy's just anonymous, so.
Yeah.
Dan comes home to his formerly peaceful loft and finds himself in the middle of the latest Jenny and Rufus argument. Rufus recruits Dan to come with him to Lily's to get the rest of Jenny's books.
Because Dan loves being in the middle of these things. That whole argument. First of all, Dan, this whole episode, Dan is just...
Well, he probably wasn't even expecting them to be there.
Right. And...
Because remember, he said he spent the night with Vanessa because it was her last night. So, yay, no Vanessa this episode.
Yes. Yeah, I was like, wow, we have the first of our Vanessa-free episodes. And then I looked and realized there's only one episode left after this. It wasn't even a 23-season episode. And again, more than anything, Dan comes home and it's like, why are you in my house? Why are you here? And yeah, I thought that was great.
At the penthouse, William gives Lily her morning pill, and the two reminisce about when Lily was pregnant with Serena. I am starting to see another pattern of Lily's. She loves to reminisce about with her exes, and it turns her on. However, William walks back his declaration of love from last week.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing she does with Rufus all the time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, it kind of, as you were talking, it occurred to me, he's been giving her antibiotics to mimic her symptoms from her cancer. What were the symptoms from her cancer? Because, like, one of the biggest things that's going to happen from giving a woman antibiotics constantly, as the previous character said, is going to be a yeast infection.
Also, it's labeled as oxycodone, which is rarely prescribed as just take it every morning. It's
no.
Take as needed, but no more than this.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Take 2 pills with food as necessary. I've been prescribed oxycodone many times for my back problems. I've never been told, when you get up in the morning, just pop a couple of these, and then just throughout the day, have more. I've had to do that. I've had mornings where I've had to do that, but it's never on the bottle. No.
Jenny answers the landline, and it's Chuck with more information on the pills, and it sounds like he also tracked down who prescribed them. Chuck has a 2-pronged plan. 1, discover the truth. 2, use the scheme to lure Blair back into his web. Luckily, Rufus and Dan left Jenny alone at the loft because she just gets up and walks out of her grounding.
I love that. I love Jenny's like, I'm grounded.
She's like looking around. Wait, there's no one even here.
Yeah.
Okay. Walk out.
Yeah. I loved that. Also, I loved Chuck's immediate, like, the plan is formulating. I can figure this out. I also really want to point out that more than anything in this episode, Chuck's number one motivation in this, because it gets questioned later, Chuck, or throughout, his motivation gets questioned, but his number one thing for all of this was to save Lily. It was never about Blair. Blair is the secondary objective, and this whole thing for Chuck is about saving Lily. And I just think that really needs to be said, especially from things that people say about it later on.
Rufus and Dan show up at the penthouse under the pretense of picking up some belongings. Serena comes out and confronts Rufus and tells him to leave. As they begin to argue, Lily, William, and Eric all enter the room. When Serena still won't reveal what Holland told her, Rufus decides to call Holland himself, and we get a quick scene cut.
I really loved this whole scene. I talked last week about Serena standing up to adults and how I've always really respected that about her. Serena was given a lie that is very upsetting to her, and she has no reason not to believe that lie other than she knows Rufus. And she has motive to believe the lie because it brings mom and dad closer together. Mm-hmm. So Serena believes this thing. Rufus has no effing idea what Serena believes. So he's like, yeah, tell me. Tell me what you got. Yeah, tell your mom. Whatever you got. Yeah, I left my scarf at her place. Yeah, I got your dad out of this sublet. Yeah, who cares? You won't tell us? Holland, come on up. Tell me.
Mm-hmm. And then we immediately jump back into the action, and Holland has arrived. After trying to deflect for a few moments, she eventually reveals that she and Rufus slept together. Rufus goes confused Pikachu, and the scene cuts and goes to commercial break.
Again, Rufus here. When his confidence, tell them everything. Whatever it is that you're saying you have to tell, say it. Because that is not the behavior of someone that banged that person.
Yeah.
That is absolutely 100% not the behavior. That is the behavior of someone who has absolutely nothing to hide. And Lily chose not to believe it, but of course Lily is not that she is choosing. Lily's choosing the option that lets her run, right? But also Lily chooses the most dramatic option.
Yeah.
And runs up the stairs.
Yeah. And Gossip Girl takes us to the break with talk about love thy neighbor. Next time, Rufus, choose one who knows that to keep his secret.
Don't tell me you believe this shit too, Gossip Girl. You know better.
We go to Act 2, and Rufus continues to be confused by the whole situation. Lily goes to her room. Serena pulls Eric away so as not to hear Rufus's lies. Rufus and William once again butt heads. This time, Rufus blows past William and up the stairs to talk to Lily. Nate shows up and asks Dan what he missed, and Dan's response is an over-exaggerated eye roll.
I loved that interaction. I thought it was for Nate to show up and then, what I miss, and Dan just to be like,
oh my God.
So here we go.
Rufus and Lily discuss the situation in a room which it was only a couple days ago their room. Because of Scarfgate and the absurdity of lying about it for no reason, Lily believes Holland. Rufus is hurt that Lily and tells her to come find him when she's ready to talk.
I think Rufus played that well once again. I'm going to go in here. Okay, this is ridiculous. What do I have to... Why would I lie about this? Why wouldn't I have told you sooner? And okay, you know me better than this. You know me. I'm going to go. You figure your shit out, Lily. Which is how Rufus has discovered Lily really needs to be played. Lily, figure your shit out. Just like Serena. Figure your shit out. And then just leave her alone to figure her shit out.
Speaking of Serena, it looks like she's immediately taking advantage of the situation to reclaim her room and is packing up Jenny's sewing stuff. Nate comes in to talk to Serena. Nate immediately takes Rufus's side, saying he's the good guy who took him in when he had nothing. Serena, in turn, gets spiteful and basically tells Nate to GTFO.
Yeah. I really loved this episode because I loved this scene because Nate hears this information about this dude who took him in and this guy who has done everything to be fatherly to him in the absence of his own father, much like he has done for Serena.
Yeah.
And Nate is sitting here really torn. Man, if Rufus did that, that's really shitty. If he didn't, we really need to get to the bottom of it. It seems like there's another layer here, and it doesn't seem like something he would do. Serena wants so fucking badly for it to be true because she wants her parents together. And that is not a narcissistic, evil, mean thing to want.
No, that's definitely a natural thing.
It is a natural thing to want.
And a good sign of, or a sign of good storytelling is if you can see all sides of the story.
Exactly.
You can see that in this episode.
Exactly. And it is all centered around a lie, but a lie that Serena has so much motivation to believe. And so she does. And is never really given evidence not to believe it, other than her friends just saying, that's not the guy you know. And she forgets that she's only known her dad for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Jenny and Chuck are waiting in the Waldorf foyer. However, when they try to explain the situation to Blair, she just dismisses them with a few spicy bon mots. Apparently, nothing will derail her date with Cameron.
Yeah. Next time, don't bring Jenny Humphrey. I also want to point out, although this time it worked out better, this is the second time that a scheme is developed and Jenny is sidelined for someone else. Jenny could have done the Blair role here with Chuck.
Which she does, basically. She distracts the receptionist and allows Chuck to go around the side and look at the day planner.
I'm talking about well
that's what he wanted Blair to do, basically.
Right. You know what? I was getting ahead of myself. But the point I was making is Chuck was trying to sideline Jenny for Blair.
Yeah.
Just like Damien sidelined Jenny for Serena, which was a mistake.
Yeah.
Now this one, it worked out, but in the long run, sidelining Jenny also maybe kind of alienated her and made her feel like not part of what was happening more.
Mm-hmm. The start of pushing her away.
Yes.
Eric and Lily are walking together, and Lily apologizes that Eric has to hear all that, and she doesn't want him to lose Rufus as a father. Eric, ever the sage, tells Lily that if they stay together, it should be for her and not for him.
Eric is the best parent on this show. His reaction to that, and when he says to her, you can't stay with him for us. And when she says, I don't want to put you through this again. And he says, not to be callous, but it gets easier. This gets easier every time.
After 5 times.
Yeah, after 5 times. But then he does turn around and he's like, look, if you think you're stronger than this and you can get through this, then you should work it out. Mm-hmm. But if you don't, then go ahead. But once again, he's giving very good parental advice to his mom.
Mm-hmm.
With a guy that, because he's certainly not Team William, I don't feel. I think he's opened up to him, but he's not.
No.
He's not.
Like he says, he loves Rufus.
He's right there.
Yeah.
I love him. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. God, he is the best character on this show.
Yes.
The character with the most character.
Dan and Nate are walking together and discussing how they are going to clear up this mess for everyone. But Nate knows they need an expert to get to the bottom of this.
Yes. I love this. I love that it's everyone goes to Blair because she's the one that knows how to do this stuff. It was fantastic. And I love that Nate and Dan team up, that Dan is like, okay, yeah, I'm in. I need to get to the bottom of this too. I'm involved. And I loved it.
Wait, I mean, he wants to defend his dad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like Dan, more than anything, wants to defend his dad, doesn't believe it's true, but would want to know the truth.
Yeah.
Because if Dan got to the bottom of it and found out the truth, and the truth was that his dad slept with this woman, Dan would be the first to say, you fucked up.
Yeah. The Hardy Boys interrupt Blair's date. Where Chuck and Jenny failed, Nate and Dan are able to succeed. Blair and the new guy are in the game.
Yeah, that was fun. Recruiting him along, exposing Upper East Side schemes. Show me your world, Blair Waldorf.
But and I hate to point out, because I'm hoping for a break between Blair and Chuck, but more signs of them is, a lot of purple accents in her outfit, on this outfit.
Yeah.
Jenny and Chuck show up at Dr. H. Campbell's office. Jenny distracts the assistant while Chuck slides around the desk to sneak a peek at the doctor's day planner. Just then, Blair shows up with her mid-level entourage in tow. Chuck and Blair connect the dots, and it seems like their schemes are connected after all.
Still didn't put it together until Blair walked in. She walks in with Nate and Dan and Cameron. What's his name?
Cameron, yeah.
Cameron. And that was when they go, yes, Dr. Holland Campbell. And I was like, what?
Yes. Do love when they all come together.
Yes.
Everyone's here except for Serena.
Yes.
But in this case, Cameron can replace her as the tall, pretty one.
Correct. And Dan, as pointed out soon, Dan doesn't usually participate. And so Dan also kind of replaces Serena in it in that sense.
But Dan actually contributes.
He does. Yes, he does. Without honeypot. Without just honeypotting someone.
Yes. And then Gossip Girl takes us to the next break with, you better hope this doctor gets healed before someone gets hurt. And we go into Act 3. Jenny has snuck back into the penthouse and takes a call from Chuck asking what she is looking for. Chuck advises her to look for another pill bottle connected to Holland.
Yep, and she finds it. And sneaks.
But they're just together. Why does he need to call her? Why did they tell her what to look for beforehand?
Yeah. When you get there, call me.
We shift to the Empire Suite where Chuck, Blair, Nate, and Dan and Cameron are strategizing. Chuck takes only a slightly veiled shot at Cameron. Blair congratulates Dan for contributing. Nate explains to Cameron that Dan doesn't usually participate in these schemes, and Blair and Chuck share a look. The plan is to get their party suits on and rendezvous at Blair's. From there, they can go to the library benefit that Chuck learned about from the day planner and confront Holland.
This scene was so good. Yeah. And the way it was shot, the pace of it, and I loved the Nate with Dan doesn't usually participate. That killed me. I don't know why, but it just killed me. The banter in this scene, the scheming, the laying everything out, it felt so classic Gossip Girl. Took me back to the season 1 when they were really doing season 1 and 2, like those great episodes.
Serena and Dr. Daddy are returning to the penthouse with a gift for Lily. Serena suggests that it's fate that Rufus cheated on Lily right at this point so her mommy and daddy can get back together. William continues to say all the right things.
Yes. Again, his long game is impeccable.
Yeah.
He's like, I've got time. I can wear this whole thing down. The whole, you should ask mom to go to the gala tonight. Only if you're there. Only if you're going. He doesn't mention Lily ever.
Yeah.
The only thing he does is goes in and apologizes for overstepping in that first scene with Lily. The rest of this time, he doesn't make mention of her. She's an afterthought. She's not the goal.
Yeah.
Well played.
Jenny finds oxycodone pills for Lily in an envelope marked for Dr. Daddy Vanderwoodson. However, just then, Serena comes home and the two go at each other. At the end, Jenny realizes she would rather just go back to Brooklyn forever. She has the evidence Chuck was looking for, but what will Jenny do with it?
Once again, like you said, like really good storytelling and really good drama comes from really understanding everyone's side. And you have Serena, who's furious at the Humphreys as a whole because of what Rufus did, because kids don't compartmentalize like that. She's furious with Jenny for trying to fuck with her and Nate for the past 3 weeks. And now she sees Jenny standing here and she lays into her. And she does not want Jenny around. And you see that crack in Jenny where I'd trade it all back. I don't want any of it anymore, just to go back to one normal day. And she finds that picture of the Humphreys. And you feel for her. And you see that she's about to crack in this plan because it's better for her for the Vanderwoodsons to get back together.
Yeah. But I do like Serena's burn, the wannabe Watanabe.
Yeah. 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 Serena walked in and started beating her with a club and did not let up. Would he run out of pills to sell and all the fucking drug burns?
Lily comes down to the kitchen just as Jenny is leaving. When Lily sees the juicer William got her, she immediately jumps at the opportunity to go out with William tonight.
Yeah.
Perfect gift. He knows about the nostalgia.
It's so funny. The second time through, first time through, I was like a juicer. And the second time through, I was like, oh, I remembered the earlier scene where he said he would have walked anywhere in town to get that juice for her.
Yeah.
And yeah, the juicer, Serena was doomed.
Dr. Daddy's slick.
Yeah.
Slick Willie. At the Waldorfs, Chuck and Blair exchange burns. We learn that Cameron had to duck out for the rest of the episode. Blair is disappointed but undeterred when Jenny lies about finding any evidence. However, Blair's plan B seems to involve Nate's family connections.
Yeah, I loved that Jenny comes in and lies, and they're like, all right, we're set. We got a plan B. We're ready for the next thing. No worries. We've got this.
And Gossip Girl has this to say. Watch out, lonely boy. Seems your sister has her own ideas about your family's planning. Move into Act 4. At the benefit, Blair is surrounded by her troops and sees Lily, William, and Serena. Blair immediately points out that Serena could cause issues with the plan. Dan and Nate are bringing some bigwig from the AMA to threaten Holland with revoking her license to practice. Chuck tries to take Blair's hand under the guise of playing the part, but Queen Bee is not having any of that.
I loved the setup for this. I love the scheming. I love the almost like the ready break that you get when they all go to do their part. And Blair not having it with the Chuck advances. Not kind of having it, I guess, because she loves it.
Once Jenny walks away from the group, she calls the hospital to cancel the AMA guy's appointment with Nate. Serena sees Jenny from on a balcony and immediately makes a phone call of her own.
Yeah, now she's like really trying to fuck this scheme up.
Yeah.
And my first watch, it was sort of, she's mad, she wants her family back. you know that this dude is harming your stepmom, who did take you in, and who has been as much a mom to you as Rufus has been a dad to them, and who has been on your side when Rufus isn't more often than not. And now you're going to let this guy give her poison.
Yeah.
And that's where it was
not a good look for Jenny.
No, that was the part that really crossed that line for me. This is for all the understandable shit that Jenny has done. When I've defended her for just being a teenager and a kid, she could kill somebody, and like someone who really loved her.
Yeah. This is not good for Jenny.
No, this is Jenny's, in my opinion, this is Jenny's lowest she has ever gone.
On a stretch of pretty bad things she's been doing.
Mm-hmm. I don't care about most of the other teenage, I'm so mad, or I love this boy and I want to. Those are such teenage things to do, and people can get over that.
I mean, being lying and trying to manipulate to steal your stepsister's boyfriend.
It's shitty. It's really shitty.
Yeah.
It's also just stupid, dumb teenager bullshit that they're not going to remember in 20 years. But like trying to kill your stepmother, not trying to kill your stepmother, but being okay with her just being poisoned so that you can have your family back.
Definitely a new low.
That's a new low. That's diabolical. That's not teenager shit. That's diabolical shit.
Serena watches with glee as her mother is dancing with the man who is slowly poisoning her. Lily's nostalgia boner continues to throb.
Yeah, she's the worst. The golden retriever. She's got her shiny thing. She's Serena's mom. It's so frustrating. Serena has no chance in this world. Serena is going to have, I'm going to say, 8 husbands. What I want to watch is a Gossip Girl reboot of them now while she's already on like husband 6.
Chuck and Blair spot Holland and without any communication jump into a roleplay to get her talking.
They were quick on their feet and
very in sync.
Very in sync, but also laid out. Is this where they start laying out their issues? Okay.
No. It looks like Serena called Rufus to tattle on Jenny. Before Rufus can once again tell her it's time to go home, Nate and Dan show up without the AMA guy. When Rufus hears that Holland is at the benefit, he grabs the ticket Jenny is holding and sprints into the event. Serena sees Nate and gives him a judgy look for being with Dan, Jenny, and Rufus.
Yeah. And Rufus, just for one fucking second, listen to someone. For them to be like, no, you don't really want to go in there right now. Your kid, the one you listen to, is saying, not right now. That's not a good idea. Although,
it did kind of work out.
Yeah, it worked out. Nothing really. Also, so there's this one ticket that Rufus doesn't have a ticket for this event. There's this one ticket that Rufus grabs and runs it, but they all get into the event still, don't they?
Well, that was the ticket Jenny was holding for the AMA guy. They mentioned it in the previous scene.
Right. But like, now where's everyone else's? I guess they already had tickets. Yeah.
Nate chases down Serena and once again swears that Rufus didn't do it, and he asks her why she won't even give Rufus a chance. Her response, why didn't Rufus give my daddy a chance? Serena, why would he give William a chance to steal his wife?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's understandable that she wants this so badly and that she wants her family the way it is. She's just such a fucking idiot for not pausing for a second to remember the Rufus that she's known all along. But she's like this, just got
And the William she's known all along.
Yeah, and the William that she's known all along. This guy hasn't always been there for you. This guy's been around for 2 weeks.
Yeah. The guy just a few months ago refused to see you when you showed up.
Yes. Yeah, this guy within the past year didn't want you around until he fell back in love with your mom.
And then Nate really kind of dropped the ball because he should have mentioned the pills here.
Yeah. Yeah, he should have.
Not just the Rufus would never do that thing.
Yeah. Does he, I guess he knows about the pills at this point.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't his scheme as much as Chuck and Jenny.
But everyone linked up there.
But everyone linked up.
Yeah, they did all the strategizing at the Empire there.
Right, that's why they call the AMA guy.
Yeah. Chuck and Blair, ever the multitaskers, use the roleplay to try to work through their real issues with Dr. Campbell. We also see Chuck and Dan communicating via a combination of hand signals and text messages. A moment later, Chuck points out Dan talking to a random old white dude and claims it's someone from the AMA disciplinary committee. They use this as leverage to get Holland to talk. Rufus shows up just in time to also hear a confession that William is the one who put her up to everything.
Fantastic. All right, AMA guy's not showing up. All right, Dan. Beep, 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 beep. See the guy he's talking to over there? He's on the AMA board. So all we need to do is bring him over here. I loved that. And also Rufus showing up, like you said, how it works out. How Rufus, of course, Rufus, why'd you go to Holland first? but Rufus comes walking up just in time to hear Holland's confession. Perfect.
Well, that's who he wanted to talk to. He wasn't there to see Lily. Remember, he heard, oh, Holland's here. That's when he sprinted in.
Oh, you're right.
Jenny also sees which way the wind is blowing and sneaks off to find William. She tells him the jig is up, but he can still grab his family and run.
Jenny, you idiot.
Yeah, really grimy.
This is where it's really grimy.
Yeah.
Because he's going to take them away to continue treating her non-existent disease.
Mm.
Yeah. Because he's at that point, he's going to still need to keep her sick to have the excuse of we need to be here close to each other. So you know what you are doing to her.
Dan thanks the old man for helping him with this scheme. It turns out he was a waiter, and Dan uses an opportunity to network for cater waiter jobs. Dan sees William sneaking out of the event with Lily and Serena, and then Rufus shows up a second too late.
I almost wanted Dan to be like, hey, Serena, where are you going? Because he sees them kind of rushing out and knows this whole thing is
I mean, you would have to like shout, basically. I mean, because like I was about to say, because it's a great long shot. Because the architecture, really showed off the architecture of NYC.
Yeah, I understand that. I wanted him to like shout down, like, hey, just something to try to stop them from leaving, instead of just being like, because when Rufus comes up, he's like, oh, they just left. And it just felt Dan felt very deer in headlights. And I felt like he was so on this whole episode. And in that moment, I wanted him to at least, which when I first saw it, you don't see that big distance. You don't see that balcony when you first see him seeing them leave. You do see that distance when Rufus shows up and why he doesn't, but it just is clamored together in this weird way that he just sort of has this, like, what? Oh, I guess I should have. Oh, yeah, they just left.
I do love William's like little super conspicuous look around.
Yes. Yeah, that too. Well, and that was the other reason that I was sort of like, Dan, are you not picking up on this? Because he does scan the entire place.
His thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just that it was I'm going to look around and make sure no one's following me. Because that would be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Hey, Gossip Girl has this to say. In this family feud, that's Vanderwoodson 1, Humphrey 0. And we go into Act 5. Lily, William, and Serena arrive back at the penthouse to find Eric alone on his laptop. Serena says this is their chance to be a family, and they are all going to Palm Beach because William has a patient emergency. Eric agrees to pack a bag. Serena ignores a call from Nate.
Eric's response was great. Eric's response was just sort of, oh, this is what we're doing as a family right now for Mom and for this. he didn't seem interested. And I think more to the point, I'm commenting on the acting. What's his
Connor Paolo.
Connor Paolo's acting, where he really played off so many conflicting emotions in a very brief moment. I thought that was really well played.
And then Serena goes into a room and answers a call from Dan. And Dan explains the situation, but Serena says it's just crazy talk.
One quick thing about that previous scene is that we have the other setup where William says, "My bags are downstairs." Mm-hmm. So my bags are downstairs in the lobby. So I just wanted to mention that. So then we get to Dan and Serena, and Dan calling, and Serena at this point full on not wanting to hear what Dan has to say. And I'll also say that this into the next scene is some of my favorite Serena writing that we've seen.
So yeah, despite her dismissal of Dan, Serena does go and question Dr. Daddy before he can explain. Rufus shows up, wanting to speak with Lily. William tries to push Rufus out of the door, but not quick enough as Lily comes into the room.
This is what I meant. When Serena came in and asks Dr. Daddy, where Serena absolutely does not want to believe this thing that Dan just told her, but also knows Dan isn't going to make this up. Has motive to make it up, called his motive on it. You're just trying to protect your dad. But she knows him so well. She knows Dan well enough to know that at least Dan got this information from somewhere. And instead of sitting on it and instead of hiding it, she goes again right to an adult, right to this person that she has been fighting for this whole time, and calls him on it, hoping against hope that it's all not true, but with enough doubt in the back of her mind that she has to ask. Oh my God, it was so... It's heart-wrenching to watch this kid go through what she goes through.
Oh, yeah. But you got to kind of feel bad for Nate because she clearly trusts Dan over Nate, even though she even acknowledged earlier in the episode Dan had much more reason to be biased.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, Nate.
Yep.
Doesn't look like you're going to get the girl.
Yeah, they have a different history. They certainly have a very different history.
In a limo, Blair, Chuck, Dan, and Nate and Jenny are doing a post-game breakdown of the scheme.
This was so great because here we have... Did Rufus come in when... Was Rufus there at the end of the scene when Serena confronted Dr. Daddy? I feel like Yeah. They all were kind of showed up, right?
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, it was Rufus and Lily and Eric, I think, were all there. And
Lily's like the last one in.
Right. But she calls him on it. And when you see him kind of ready to take the breath to tell the story, and when you're getting ready to have like the story laid out, you then cut to the non-judging breakfast club.
And they go all the way back to the beginning.
Yes.
With the letter.
They go all the way back to the letter. They give an entire behind-the-scenes recap without it being these adults just explaining what happened. And so it really ties the center of the show, the kids, and shows their Scooby-Dooing this episode, how they laid it out, how they uncovered the whole scheme, how they knew all of the details by the end of it, so that anything that you may think that, oh, maybe we don't have all the info, they've discovered everything. I thought that was such phenomenal character development, phenomenal storytelling, phenomenal writing, and phenomenal directing.
And I don't know if it was purposeful or not, but I did take note of the seating arrangement. We had Chuck and Nate on one bench, and then on the other bench you had Blair with Dan and Jenny on either side of her.
Yes.
If anyone knows what that means, write in and tell us.
Yeah.
Back at the penthouse, William denies Rufus's accusations. Serena still believes Dr. Daddy. However, Lily and Eric seem less sure. William says he's going to get the proof from his bag, and the scene cuts.
Oh. I'm going to run down to the lobby right now. I'm just going to grab those that proof, a pack of cigarettes, and some bread, and I will be right back.
Yeah. Did you catch Rufus's smug little Jedi pose?
Oh,
yeah, his hands clasped with the jacket kind of wrapped around, looked like a robe.
Yes.
Enough time has passed for Rufus to have fully explained the situation. Eric is just happy to find out that Lily isn't sick anymore. Rufus, Lily, and Eric sit as Serena stands defiant and insists that Dr. Daddy is coming back.
Oh, sweetie. Oh, you poor thing. And I love, because even in the previous scene, Eric is like, wait, what the fuck? And Eric is ready to dump.
Well, he wants the truth. Eric wants the truth.
Eric wants the truth, and he doesn't care which one of these dudes is right. Honestly, I don't think that if it was true and Rufus had cheated, I think Eric would still have a relationship with Rufus if they got divorced. But man, Serena just like, he's gonna get the proof. He's coming back. It's like, oh, sweetie.
Thank God Serena wasn't the one questioning Colonel Jessup in that courtroom, because she couldn't handle the truth.
She couldn't handle the truth. You want the truth? No. No further questions, Your Honor.
Blair and her troops arrive looking for William. Even though everyone tells her William wasn't in the lobby, Serena still insists they must have missed him and runs for the elevator.
Oh, sweetie. Like they all come in like, the lobby's empty. No.
So
but I get it. You have to see for yourself. You have to see for yourself.
Yeah.
And he did it again. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. But yeah, go check.
Nate tells Dan that they should call the police, but Dan says they should wait. Nate points out that William could get away forever if they wait. So Nate calls another family favor with a Captain Lewis.
I love how, should we call the police? Most of us think 911, but this guy calls the captain of the police department to be like, hey, I need
a favor.
I need a favor. There's this helicopter that's about to take off. High profile case for you. We're scratching each other's back here. Thanks, Cap. He calls him Cap.
Yeah. When Blair and Chuck realize it must have been one of them that tipped off William, Jenny comes clean.
Good on her. Good on Jenny for coming clean.
Yeah.
I appreciated that she owned her shit and put it out there and was ready to receive the consequences. So that one thing she did right. I'll give her that.
And the act ends without a Gossip Girl blast, and Dan finds a distraught Serena sitting in the lobby. Finally realized.
Yeah.
Finally figured it out.
I wanted to give her a hug so badly. I just felt awful for her. My heart broke in that scene.
How do we feel about Dan in this? He immediately, when he hears Nate calling the cop, you see him slink off, and then he goes to Serena.
Dan did say, let's give it a minute. And Nate's like, no, this guy needs to be arrested. I understand Dan's like, let everybody take a breath. And this guy is getting on a helicopter. Dan going downstairs, though, I also feel like Serena left and went down there and didn't come back. And Dan is the one who thinks of people.
Yes, but this is now schemy Dan.
Yeah.
And he knows how Serena's going to react to Nate calling the cops.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when the Vanessa is away, Dan will play.
Well, yeah, sure. Well, and I'm at this point really wanting it to be he's being a good stepbrother. He's being a good brother to her. A good brother would go and check on his stepsister that he used to sleep with. By the end of this, though, it takes that turn. But right here, it's someone needs to check in on her, and I was glad I'm glad it was Dan. Nate is in a different place right now, and Nate is in the correct place for the most part. Dr. Daddy should be arrested,
So we move into the epilogue, and Carmen Sereniego is confronting Dr. Daddy, who finally comes clean. William asks her to come with him, but Serena says no. She doesn't forgive him, but she doesn't need to punish him. Apparently, Serena has executive authority to pardon criminals. They still exchange I love yous and hug, but William leaves just before the cops can arrive. Serena is left alone and crying.
I liked the line, I don't forgive you, but I don't need to punish you. I feel like that is a very good stance to have in a relationship over things that aren't criminal.
Yes. But also, she doesn't need to punish her. But somehow in the next sentence, I'll make sure no one comes after you.
Right.
How do you have this power, Serena?
Yeah. Yeah. And you may not need to punish her. Your mom might.
Yeah.
Your mom might want him punished.
Eric might want to.
Eric, your brother might want him punished.
Yeah.
Eric, who was skeptical from the start
Yeah.
of this guy's motivations. That's why I loved that conversation with Lily, where Eric is like, hey, if you guys can work through this. He doesn't say Rufus did it. He doesn't say Rufus didn't do it. He's just either work through it or don't. I'm going to keep loving Rufus either way. And he never says, and I'm happy to be with Dad.
Lily apologizes to Rufus, but he is just grateful he isn't losing her to cancer or anything else. Jenny rolls her eyes as they kiss.
Sweet. I'm glad they made up. Lily, I'm glad. Let's wait for your next drama. But
I mean, I kind of agree with Jenny here. He took her back pretty damn quick.
he always does.
Yeah.
He took her back pretty damn quick when William came in that first time and he first learned that all of this was happening. And he goes, I'm sorry you had to go through this alone 2 or 3 episodes ago. So,
but I feel like that's a little bit different. Like this time she was ready to leave with him.
Yeah. She was ready to leave with her doctor who needed to leave and she needed to be treated.
Her doctor who had just told everyone that he was in love with her.
I know. I'm saying that much like her daughter, Lily has the things that she believes and the things she wants to believe. And at this point, she legitimately believed that this guy was her doctor treating her illness. Mm-hmm. She wanted to believe that was his only motive. She wanted to believe that he wasn't trying to stir up feelings.
Mm-hmm. Rufus and Jenny argue, and Rufus tells Jenny to stay out of his beeswax. Jenny once again says she just wants to go back to her old life. Eric is also disappointed in Jenny, and before walking away, he stands up and tells her that if she doesn't want to be part of this family, no one is forcing her to.
God, cold.
Yeah.
Fucking cold. And again, just with Eric in general, Eric has the highest tolerance of bullshit of anyone on this show, and he has fucking had it with her. And this was your best friend. This was the guy who was always in your corner, who you finally got back in your corner. But now you just tried to kill his mom.
Yeah.
Essentially. In as far as Eric is seeing you right now, you tried to let this fucking fake. You tried to let me run off with this guy who was killing my mom to get with her, and for Eric to say, no one's forcing you. And Eric doesn't say get out. Eric doesn't say we don't want you here. He says no one's forcing you, which is a completely different connotation. It is, you are here because you want to be here. I am here because I want to be here. That's what family is.
Yeah.
So it was just crushing for Eric to say that. Not mad at him at all.
No. Jenny made her bed, and now she has to lie in it.
Well, I don't think she's lying in her bed.
Chuck is waiting with Blair for Cameron to pick her up and continue their date. Blair admits that she still has feelings for Chuck, but can't be with him because she no longer feels safe with him. Chuck says that they will never be safe and gives her an ultimatum in the style of an affair to remember. Blair leaves with Cameron.
You can't affair to remember me. I'm not surprised by that affair to remember. I'm a little surprised it hasn't happened sooner, if I'm being honest. So I actually really like that they're doing that. I like I like that proposal. I like that he did that.
I really hated this scene.
You did? I thought it was
Chuck was so gross.
Oh yeah, Chuck's gross. And yes.
Why does he have any right to give her an ultimatum? He's the one that fucked up.
No. Don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, Chuck's a piece of shit. Blair should not go to that affair to remember date tomorrow. She shouldn't. But I've been waiting for them to do an affair to remember, is my point. Is that I was hoping this would come sooner. I also was really hoping it wasn't right after Blair met this dude, because I've been edging for the Blair Dan thing for all this time, and now if they're going to do the affair to remember thing at the top of the Empire State Building, I just feel like it ends with Blair and Chuck getting back together, and then I have reason to believe that, well, go ahead.
Well, also, so before we go to the next scene, I haven't mentioned yet, so the penultimate episodes of the season are these team-up episodes. So 117, and then the Wrath of the Khan, and then this one, and then the final episode is the get-together episode.
Yeah.
The relationship resolving episode.
Yes. And man, I actually had that feeling of like, this could have been a season finale if it wasn't the way Gossip Girl operates, because it just had so much happening and it never quit. This episode just didn't stop.
It definitely feels like the first half of a 2-part finale.
Yes.
So hopefully they can keep up the momentum.
Yes. For Dr. Daddy to dip in this episode, he didn't dip. He didn't get on a helicopter. He got into a cab.
Well, I think that was just to throw off the cops.
I agreed, but I made the mental note of he didn't leave New York when we saw him leave.
I'll hold that thought for the predictions.
Yes.
Serena is still at the helipad with the police, and she finally takes Nate's call only to tell him this is why she never tells him anything. Serena then gets into the waiting limo where it's revealed Dan is with her.
Yeah, I never tell you anything because you might help save my mom from being poisoned by a man who I hardly know.
Yeah. And then Jenny shows up to the Empire, not expecting Nate to be there. However, Nate does welcome her in, and the episode ends with Nate following Jenny into a room, bag in hand.
Oh, did we already see Serena? Oh, yeah, she gets up. We forgot to address. Serena gets off the phone, and there's Dan in the car with her.
That's what I said.
I forgot to address that. That now, again, at the start of this, it's very brotherly. It's very sibling-like. And then the head on the shoulder. And it's like, again.
You never had your sister rest her head on her shoulder?
No, maybe. I don't know. My sister and I aren't really quite like that, maybe. Yes. But with their history, it's just...
So this is Gossip Girl's final monologue of the episode. When the family tree falls, we all need a friend to lead us out of the woods. But careful, once darkness descends, true natures emerge, and everything is fair game until the morning. XO, XO, Gossip Girl. So who's banging tonight?
Well,
We got Dan, Serena,
yeah,
Jenny and Nate,
Dan, Serena, Jenny, Nate,
Lily Rufus,
Blair, Cameron,
Blair,
Lily
Cameron.
Rufus. I think Blair and Cameron are going to have a lovely, boring date. Like that whole tell me about rugby thing really sets up. She's wanting to be.
He's Nate 2.0.
Yes.
He's Nate.
Yes. And she's going to have a lovely, boring time with him.
We know that's not what Blair wants.
That's not what Blair wants.
He's a good rebound, though.
Yes. Yes. I wanted Dan to be the rebound. Anyway, we have Dan and Serena that it could be brotherly, it could be romantic, it could be the start of something. I don't think they're banging tonight. I think Serena is distraught and Dan isn't really thinking in those lines right now. I have a little more faith in Dan than that.
Technically, him and Vanessa ended on a good note.
Yeah. Technically, they're still together.
Yeah.
Long distance, but we just not long distance enough to talk about her.
Well, they mentioned her in the first scene.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Which, spoilers, that's how she gets into the stock watch as going down.
That's really funny. The other couple. Oh, Jenny and Nate. Are Jenny and Nate gonna bang? They both go into the room together.
They've been talking about Jenny's virginity all like second half of the season here.
Yes. I also feel like Nate is mad at Serena. I don't think Nate feels like they're over. I feel like Nate thinks they're in a fight. So I don't know that he would actually go through with it. I don't want Nate and Jenny to bang because more than anything, I don't want Dan and Nate to go through all this. And they're going to because oh my God, I'm so mad that like of all of what's set up right here, Serena, Dan, Jenny, Nate, everyone has a reason to hate everyone when that comes out. Everybody has a reason to hate every person in there. So it's just messy.
So going back to William, what would be his motivation to come back at this point?
If Lily wasn't the actual goal, if the family and the love wasn't the actual goal, if there was some other thing that he was after all along that he still thinks he can get, that would be his motivation to stay. So that's why, and honestly, I don't necessarily foresee him being in the finale. It was more of he didn't leave New York. I would see him resurfacing sometime in the future, unless you're going to tell me that we are never going to see Dr. Daddy again.
I won't say that, but yeah, I mean, you gotta remember, we're not going to, if he's not coming back right away, then it's going to be at least 3 months later. So is he just hanging around New York this whole time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I really don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. Unless he shows up tomorrow. Unless there is something, or next episode.
Any other predictions?
I predict that they're going to meet at the top of the Empire State Building. Now, I also wouldn't be surprised if Blair goes up there to meet, but somewhere in the episode, Chuck finds out something that pisses him off, so Blair gets there, and she's there, and Chuck is not. So I could see that, or her getting there and the wrong person, or someone else is there, like Dan standing up at the top. Or Cameron. Like it would be sweet if it was Cameron, but it would be I'm really rooting for Dare. If you can't tell. They'd have beautiful babies.
Yeah. Let's get into segments. This week in fandom, we jumped into the Wayback Machine to travel to the fan forums from 2010.
Hello there, Peabody here. And this is the Wayback Machine for traveling through time. And this is my boy, Sherman. Speak, Sherman. Hello. Good boy.
Most people liked the episode.
Yeah, it was, I thought, fantastic. I think this is the best episode of season 3.
Yeah, I agree. They liked the return of the core couples, Dan and Serena, Chuck and Blair.
Yep. I kind of loved and hated it.
But people did like the Blair, Dan, and Nate team up.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
And they disagreed with Nate calling the cops for some reason. A-cam, I guess.
Yeah, that's really, in my mind, the only reason. At the same time, in the morality of Gossip Girl, what did he do? He just tried to poison Lily. He said he's sorry.
Did he, though?
No. He ran away.
Yeah.
He's gone. What do you care? Which really is a Lily thing. Like, he's gone.
I'd rather just be gone than out of the scandal of it all.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Jenny is getting shit on some more.
Well, Jenny
deserved it.
Jenny was the toilet to be shat upon this episode.
Serena is also horrible, but at least relatable.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Serena is awful, and Serena has motivation and reason to be that awful, and it was played so well.
But yeah, not a long thread this week, so that's it. And we're going to move over to episode grades. You're first this week.
A+. This is my favorite episode of this season. I can't think of any writing or directing flaw that really took me away from the episode, that really ruined the immersion in the episode. It was smooth. The dialogue was great. It had everything you want in a Gossip Girl episode. You have everybody showing up together for a scheme in the party of the week, all working together. It was the best episode of season 3.
I agree. I do think it's the best episode of season 3. The writing was great. The directing was great. The acting was good. It was just a shade below those 2 A+ episodes we've had. And so I gave it just a straight A.
What were the A+ ones? The first Thanksgiving one?
I think Poison Ivy.
Oh, right.
And I believe possibly Wrath of the Khan.
Was that the... Wait,
that was the Georgina scheme.
Oh.
The Jesus scam.
Yo. Right.
That was this episode last year.
Yes. When they all came together and, yep. That's
but yeah, so I just, it was just a shade below them, so I gave it a straight A instead of the A+.
That's fair.
Moving over to Stockwatch, who do you got going up?
Going up, I have Dan. I have Chuck and Blair for winning their scheme. I have Nate going up for also winning his scheme, for being a part of that and helping expose all of that. So all of the ones who exposed the plan I had going up. I have Rufus and Lily going up for getting back together in the end, even though Lily doesn't really deserve it. I'm giving it to her. I think that was all of my ups, but I might hear yours and throw someone else up.
For me, I did not have everyone that was involved in the scheme. I had Blair. I had Dan, because he not only was a contributing player on the winning team, but he also backdoor heroed for Serena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dan was great.
I had Rufus going up because he got his wife back.
Yes. And Rufus, in every aspect of Rufus in this episode, he was on point. He never backed down. Amazing episode for Rufus, I felt.
Yeah.
Even his dadding wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I mean, like, drug dealing, I think, is probably a legit reason to ground your daughter.
Yeah, not out of line for telling her she can't be on the phone because she might be selling drugs.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Especially with Chuck.
especially with Chuck.
Yeah. I also had Lily because she finds out that she's cancer free,
Yes, good job. Yeah.
and Eric because he found out his mom is healthy.
Oh, I had Eric going up too because of that, and also just because of Eric being the best parent on the show.
Who do you have going down?
I have Serena going down. I have Dr. Daddy going down for getting busted. I have Holland going down. I know you said because you mentioned it, I'm going to do it too. I'm going to send Vanessa down because we have her name mentioned in this episode and Vanessa sucks.
Well, I mean, she looks like she's about to get cheated on too.
And it looks like she's about to get cheated on as well. I have Jenny going down for sure. And oh, you know what? I did have someone else going up. It was Cameron. I had Cameron going up for surviving his first Blair Waldorf scheme.
Fair enough.
But that I believe is
She took another virginity.
she took another virginity.
For me, going down, I had Nate going down because, well, it looks like he's getting cucked.
Oh well,
And he didn't really contribute anything to the scheme. He thought he was going to have the AMI guy, but that fell through because Jenny out-schemed him.
Yeah. Although also Nate doesn't always have much to do with it. Nate was pretty.
But he also had Cameron too.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are just like clones of each other.
They really are. Tall Nate.
Speaking of which, I do like that they wove Cameron into the show a little bit by having him like know Nate and like they're from Columbia. They're both jocks.
They both play lacrosse.
No.
Oh, and soccer.
He
plays.
Nate plays
rugby.
lacrosse.
Yeah.
Cameron plays rugby.
Rugby. Yeah, but they're both athletes at the school. Share locker room time, I'm sure.
Serena obviously going down.
Yep.
Jenny going down.
Yeah.
William going down.
Yeah.
Holland going down.
Yep.
I had Chuck going down just because of that last conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And Vanessa because she's also getting cucked.
There is one more that we probably both want to add to the going down once I say it. But that secretary let Chuck get right behind her and look at the calendar. It is another secretary that deserves to be fired. The receptionist on this show.
At this point, I think it must be like a passive aggressive thing by the writers complaining about the WPAs.
Could you imagine like the number of like people that just get on set because the receptionist lets them through and they're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking show them. Did you see I named the receptionist after you? Can I be any more subtle? But here's the best outfits from the last episode we've seen.
That is it for Stock Watch. Let's move over to Best Outfit. Who do you got?
I loved Blair's party dress, the one that she wore at the end, had like the kind of floofy bottom to it, the giant pearls. I was all on that one.
I felt like it was kind of like an old lady dress.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like when Blair has the old lady aesthetic because I think she carries it and makes it look young. So,
well,
maybe I'm just an old man.
You'll like season 5. Jenny, for me, it was Jenny's black gown by Jay Mendel.
It's funny, that was my second choice. That was almost what I picked. I went back and forth between them.
Jenny's been killing it with style all season.
Yes. Yeah.
That is it for segments. What are you plugging?
I'm going to plug my Instagram and TikTok, steve.marchon, Marchion. And you can find me at either of those places or Blue Sky at The Weed Wizard. And other than that, I don't have a lot I'm plugging right now. I should mention, I never say this. Look at my Spotify, Steve Marchon, spelled the same way, Marchion. Check out my Spotify. Listen to some of my music. See what you think.
All right. Nothing really for me either. So you can follow me on Instagram and Blue Sky. I'm at Hot Capicola. That's HOTCAPICOLA. You can follow the podcast at Non-Judging Breakfast Pod on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. You can also find links to our subreddit, our Discord server, and our Patreon on our website, nonjudgingbreakfastpod.com.
Last night I had a hoagie that had hot capicola on it, and as I was eating it, I was like, "Oh, it's hot capicola, C-A-P," spelling it in my head. Sorry. So while you are
Eat me,
listening,
Steve, eat me.
You're delicious, boss. It's a Spaceballs reference. So, and folks, if you'd like to get in touch with us, we would love to hear what you have to say. So please send us an email at nonjudgingbreakfastpod@gmail.com. And while you're at it, while you're listening, go ahead and give us a like, give us a follow, or subscribe, and go ahead and leave a comment. It really helps us with our visibility in Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And we also love to get that feedback and communicate back to you when you do leave that for us. And finally, let your friends know what you're listening to, and maybe you can make us the water cooler talk every week at work.
And we will be back next week to talk about Season 3, Episode 22, Last Tango, Then Paris. The episode description reads, Blair must decide whether to meet Chuck at the top of the Empire State Building or risk losing their future together.
First of all, and a Blair to remember, it's right there. It's right there. So, but
I do like that title as well.
I do, but you could do, I mean, I haven't seen this episode, but the implication is it's more appropriate for an affair to remember, and that one should be reserved for, or did they already use an affair to remember? No, I don't think so. But anyway, I mean, it's sitting right there.
Yeah. Maybe she won't go.
Maybe she won't go.
Well, until next time, you know you love us.
XOXO. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Oh, it seems I'm walking right to your door. My heart's still resting, looking for something more. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Never feels right when I'm out here on my own. I left last night and it feels like way too long. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Come back to me. Smile and you'll make my life complete. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. You